This could be very well be appropriate for right here, right now. I'm gonna go ahead and slow it down a little bit this time. And another sales plunge, and another sales plunge, another GM car sales plunge. Wolfstreet.com again, Wolf Richter. Jiminy Christmas. Is the auto industry in bad shape? And you know when someone comes out and says one of the big three, what they mean. GM, Chrysler, Ford, etc. This one is focused on GM here. As sales plunge, GM might cancel. Might. Are you sure or unsure? You don't want the market to dump, but you want to kind of tell the truth. Use the word might. You want your kid, you know, Daddy, can I spend the night at so-and-so's house? You really want to say no, but you know they're going to pester you. So you say, might. You might be able to spend the night. Oh, okay. And they leave you alone. And then you know later on, they're going to come back. Daddy, yes or no? You know, I really thought about it. I don't think so tonight. Oh, yeah, but yeah. Right, now I'm ready to deal with it. So do you think maybe GM is using might in that same kind of context? We don't want to deal with this crap right now. Stock market falling, our shares falling, whatever. So let's just give them a might. Still not good, though. Anyways, might cancel 6 car models. Discussions with the UAW have started. Entire plants at risk. GM is getting whacked harder than any of the major automakers by the industry-wide plunge in car sales as Americans switch in ever larger numbers from cars to trucks, which include pickups, vans, SUVs, and crossovers. In the first half of 2017, GM's car sales in the U.S. plunged 19%, and in June, 38%. Oh, that's hard to even say, talk, and swallow about. Oh. The rest of the industry, without GM, booked declines in car sales of only 10% in the first half of June, or in the first half, and 9% in June. GM is losing ground in the bitter industry-wide reality of dropping car sales. Inventory is piling up on GM dealer lots. At the end of June, some car models exceeded a catastrophic 180 days supply. GM has already cut production. There have been layoffs. Plants have been temporarily shut down, and entire shifts have been eliminated, but it hasn't been enough. Whoa, this ain't enough. Make it enough. Friday, Smoke Dog. Now comes the next step, ending production entirely of some models, shuttering plants for good or converting them to making trucks, and fretting about jobs. And that's already being discussed between the UAW and GM, according to UAW President Dennis Williams. We are talking to GM right now about the products that they currently have at underutilized car plants such as Hamtramck in Michigan and Lordstown in Ohio, and whether these models could be replaced with more popular vehicles such as crossovers, he told reporters today, including Reuters. We are tracking it, he said. We are addressing it. So you're saying there's a chance. 6 passenger cars are currently under review at GM and might be canceled after the 2020 year model, or 2020 model year, I should say. Reuters has learned from people familiar with the plans. Chevy Volt, a hybrid, not to be confused with the Bolt, a completely electric vehicle. Buick LaCrosse, Cadillac CT6, Cadillac XTS, Chevrolet Impala, and Chevrolet Sonic. GM has already done away with the Cadillac ELR, a dressed-up 2-door luxury coupe version of the Volt, but a lot more expensive. Practically no one had bought it, but that was just a failed niche product. Some of the 6 models GM is thinking of canceling were its bread and butter. Other automakers already canceled cars for the 2016 and 2017 model years, including the Dodge Viper, the Volkswagen EOS, a convertible suffering from a decade-long slump of convertibles, by the way, the Honda CRZ Hybrid 2-door, the Lincoln MKS, a nicely groomed Taurus, and Toyota's entire Scion, or is it Scion brand? Or is it Scion? Scion brand. with some models migrating to the Toyota brand and others, such as the Scion TC, just gone. Oh, and then there's Fiat Chrysler. Fiat. You know, thinking paper money, unbacked currency, fiat. I don't like that name. I don't like saying Fiat Chrysler. Makes me think of how much indebted our country is. Fiat Chrysler. Nah. Can't it just be Chrysler? Or Crikey? Crikey! I got a Crikey caravan. Anyways, oh, then there's Chrysler, Fiat Chrysler, that is. It has wound down production of the Dodge Dart. Fiat comes to mind. And the Chrysler 200. It no longer makes cars at all in the U.S. The remaining cars it sells in the U.S. will be made in Mexico, Canada, and other countries. It will only make trucks in the U.S., which are a lot more profitable, such as the Ram and the Jeep branded SUVs. Again and again, car company was Ford, this one, they were downsizing and moving out of the country. Downsizing, moving out of the country. Laying off, moving out of the country. Is that the signs of a good turnaround coming to the United States of America by any chance? Does that sound like it to you? But canceling 6 cars, including bread and butter models, as GM is doing, is a sign that the collapse of car sales in the U.S. isn't just a temporary hiccup. I'm trying to tell you, doing these videos day after day, my friends. This is not a hiccup. The stuff I talk about is not a one-off. It is a trend, and it's not looking good. GM's Hamtramck plant in Detroit, which builds the Chevy Bolt, Buick LaCrosse, Cadillac CT6, Chevy Impala, all 4 of them in the list above, potentially on the chopping block, is a sitting duck. Reuters says the first half it built fewer than 35,000 cars, down 32% from the same time period in 2016. According to suppliers familiar with GM's U.S. production schedule, the typical GM assembly plant builds 200,000 to 300,000 vehicles a year. Rental car companies, which are the biggest car buyers out there, have found themselves... Wait. That noise. Biggest car buyers out there have found themselves over-fleeted due to industry changes, including the surging use of rideshare services even by business travelers. And so rental car companies are trimming their purchases, which leaves automakers with less of an outlet for their cars. And even consumers that typically bought cars are more and more gravitating towards SUVs and crossovers, and even pickups, as Honda's successful launch of its Ridgeline pickup truck amply demonstrates. And as long as gas is below $3 a gallon, which is what I was going to say next, that's likely to unchange. But as soon as gas prices go up again, sell off the SUVs, I'm going small, hybrid, electric. And we'll do that, and then gas prices will come down again, and then we'll get back into our big, giant, gas-guzzling SUVs because we never freaking learn. And I don't think we care to or want to. Gas might have to go over $6 a gallon and stay there before there would be a noticeable rejiggering of buying preferences. And even then, it might not happen. Now that Carmageddon has descended upon cars, and particularly on GM's cars, the company would need to perform a Hail Mary miracle and come out with hot new cars that people would actually want to buy, even with gas below $3 a gallon. But miracles are rare these days, especially in the car business. And so the inevitable next steps will impact in dramatic ways the model lineup, plants, and jobs, not only at GM, but also at its suppliers. And speaking of that, he said, American Icon, which I talked about, was it yesterday? Harley Davidson is in an even tighter spot, tight like a tiger, trying to manage a structural decline in a terrible industry. Read, Harley Davidson spirals down, announces U.S. layoffs, builds factory in Thailand, which is what I told you about the other day. So not only are the car companies moving out, setting up shop elsewhere, so is Harley Davidson. And as I said in that video, Harley Davidson is like one of the most iconic American flag-waving company, period. They're on their people on their hogs, American flags, just drive, yeah. No. U.S. straight, Albuquerque left, Thailand to the right, bus on the right. I'm out. Hey, where you going, man? America's that way. Hey, man, thought it was America. It is America? Yeah, but we're just gonna move over there. We're not downsizing. Everything's cool. Yeah, actually, you are downsizing. Why are you going to Thailand anyways to build bikes over there? You can't have this made in the USA thing going on and then go to Thailand. You know what I mean? Like, but their response would be this if we were in a private room and they knew this would never get out to the public. Jay Snip, you nailed it. You've been nailing it every time you talk about this subject. You're spot on. America is already in a depression, but you just can't see it because the stock market kept going. The stock market crashed, everything would be in place already. People are already spending all their money on just living in a house, check. Everything else, hardly any discretionary income, check. Which leads to things like this, not buying motorcycles, not buying cars, not buying other things, check. And since that's happening, we in these companies, cars, motorcycles, we need to survive too. We got mouths to feed, so we are going to have to go somewhere else. We don't want to. We are certainly American and truly, USA shouting Americans. But we also don't want to find ourselves homeless on the streets. So we're moving to Thailand. Thanks. That's how that goes. Take care.